us now as we take you on a journey from the heart of New South Wales through the Hunter Valley to the beautiful beaches of the Central Coast.
Over 4 episodes, we'll be exploring the iconic and rugged landscapes on offer from Dubbo to Nelson Bay and all the other surprises in between.
So pack your bags and climb on board with us as we take you on the ultimate bush to beach adventure.
It's time to see this land of wonder. It's time to go and see what's up down under. What's up down under?
G'day and welcome to the show. Today is our second episode of our 4-part journey from Dubbo right through to Nelson Bay.
And it's all been thanks to our great mates at Galaxy Caravans, Lotus Caravans and of course G&S Chassis.
So sit back and relax as we show you
What's up down under.
Picking up from where we left off last week, we find ourselves in the beautiful New South Wales town of Mudgee.
But before we head off in search of more adventure in this amazing part of the world, we're going to go for one last cruise around this lovely little town. And with that being said, Sal from G&S and I got stuck right into the tracks of Bylong Creek. How you finding the drive, Sal? Interesting tracks?
Yeah, the tracks are pretty interesting here.
We come into a bit of a creek crossing, not much water, but it's pretty wet. Everything's handling really good and it's been really great.
Mate, you guys have obviously spent a lot of time developing this suspension. Mate, what's the secret to designing a set of suspension that's going to carry a big caravan like this through these tracks that were actually built more for four-wheel driving than pulling big touring vans through?
Well, basically it's about actually going out there yourself and
Experiencing the terrain, see what the suspension does, what it needs, if it needs more travel, less travel, if springs need to be longer, shorter, softer, harder. And this is what us guys at G&S do. We actually go out ourselves and test things and try everything ourselves before we put it out on the market. Control Rider does an amazing job underneath the Lotus and the Galaxy and hasn't let us down.
Mate, I've seen what you blokes do with caravans in the bush. You take things to places that the average person will never go to. So I guess that gives the end user the peace of mind that whatever they've got under their caravan, if you guys have built it, it's been built through the planning, preparation, design and testing that's going to give them the peace of mind to take it where they want to go.
that's correct. We before we put anything out on the market,
We try our best to design it and proof test it as best as we can.
Hey, what do you reckon about this for a drive? Just the scenery and whatever. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
this campsite's amazing. It's got such beautiful tracks.
A lot of nice landscape. The tracks are designed in a way that you've got areas where you can turn around and come back. Doesn't really trap you in anywhere. And but you also got some areas where it really puts your vehicles and your caravans and suspensions and chassis to the test. And guess what? They're really passing the test today.
All right, mate, I reckon it's about that time of the day that we should start looking for somewhere to pull up for the night. What do you reckon?
Yes, I reckon we should look for somewhere where we can camp tonight.
Let's go for a Mecca. Let's keep looking for a good spot where we can camp.
Copy that, mate. I'm following you. Lead me to paradise, old mate.
You can plan until you're blue in the face. You can work out exactly what you're going to do to a place. One thing you cannot control is the weather. And the weather came and touched us right there at Bylong Creek. Started raining in the afternoon. We're about halfway to the campsite we'd planned to be to. And didn't it change up the ante? My goodness. Traction. That's what you need. Doesn't matter how much horsepower you're building. If you haven't got traction, you ain't going nowhere. Now, this is basalt country. Clayey. When it rains, it gets greasy, real greasy. We've got about 3 tonne of caravan behind us and we're trying to drive up over hills, so we ain't got no traction. We've got to drop some tyre pressures down, gives us a bigger footprint on the ground, more traction, better chance of success. We will get through this. Watch closely.
We just encountered about 30 mil of rain, bit wet, swampy here in the area, very wet on the surface. It's become like soap. So we've decided to take some pressure out of the tyres, see if we can go up. We've been slipping and sliding a bit trying to get up, but I've just put these down to 25 PSI. Now I'm going to be doing the other side. So I just let down the tyre pressure a little bit. Just looking at the wall bubbling up a little bit gives you an indication roughly that you're there at the right pressures, and then you just check them with a gauge. Just got to watch if you slide back, you don't jackknife the caravan. Just try and keep yourself steady. Don't use the brake too much. Try and let the car control the van where it wants to go. And use your acceleration.
We found a nice little campsite. It's up over the top of this hill. When we first discovered it, it hadn't rained. It's rained now, and the track is greasy. Sal's just been through and had to take a little shortcut around the hill because he just couldn't find enough bite there to get everything over the top. But I've got something in mind. I want to give it a go. Let's have a go. Come on, jump in. And while I tried to get up over the hill, Tanya had a chat to Mark from GNS.
So Mark, on our way to camp, just a little question I have is when people take delivery of their vans, what should they do first?
Good idea is to read their owner's handbook. Gives you information about the warranty, gives you information about a shakedown test.
What's a shakedown test?
Oh, that's take a trip 300 kilometres, give it a good workout, and then when you get home, check everything. Make sure there's nothing loose, and also make sure your wheel nuts are tight, make sure your bolts are tight, make sure your suspension is good and strong still, and just make sure that everything is there so that when you go on a proper trip, you don't have anything unexpected happen.
Well, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. Just read your manuals, make sure you know your van pretty intimately, and then you can head off and really enjoy your trip.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go and enjoy our trip. Let's get down to base camp and light a fire and relax for the afternoon.
Looking forward to that.
Well, there you go. We made it up over the hill, no problems at all. Put it in four-wheel drive, put the diff locks in, put everything in, let some wind out of the tyres. But today, still not enough. We needed one more thing, and fortunately we had it on hand today. It's called a Unimog, ex-military vehicle, hooked on, pulled us through, and we can still get to the campsite we wanted to get to. You should keep it in mind, but if you get out into a spot like this and you're not prepared for it, end up with the that situation, you haven't got the gear to get yourself out, you're going to be there for quite some time, which is less than ideal.
Just setting up, because it's raining, it gets some shelter happening. We'll light the fire and maybe we can have a good afternoon here or evening and stay the night.
Oh, we've arrived. It was fantastic. How great do these vans look with a bit of mud on them? Now that's what I'm talking about. They're off-road vans, and that's exactly what we did. We went off-road. And while we set up camp for the night, why don't you folks at home check out this piece on GNS chassis.
Mark, when someone mentions chassis in the caravan industry in Australia, the name GNS pops up straight away. What is it that makes GNS the name that people go to for chassis in caravans today?
Well, Mecca, they've been in business for over 40 years now, and the focus has always been on the customer. Everything that we do is geared towards making sure that we meet our customers' expectations, at least making sure our chassis are safe, making sure they're fit for purpose, and also remembering that it's not just the caravan builder who's buying the chassis from us, but we got to make sure that the owner of the caravan is just as happy.
I guess they are ultimately your customer. The people you deal with on a day-to-day basis are the manufacturers of these caravans. So you've got that dual responsibility, haven't you?
That's correct. That's correct. You know, we start the process pretty early. We go right from the design phase through to testing, through to making sure all the materials that we use and the components that we use are the best around. Our manufacturing technology, our manufacturing systems, our workforce is highly skilled, and it goes all the way through to your customer service and your after-sales care. We never stop dealing with the customer. So we're going from the design, and it never ends.
So really, you've gone through everything with a fine-tooth comb. You've done all the worrying, all the planning, all the preparation, and manufactured something that the end user no longer has to worry about.
Exactly. Like I said before, making sure that it's safe, making sure that it's durable, making sure that it's going to be going nice and straight when you're towing your caravan. That's all part of it.
So in a nutshell, mate, what is it that makes GNS the top of the food chain?
Ultimately, it's our loyal customer base. You know, we try and look after them as much as they look after us.
And if someone at home wants some more information about chassis, where can they find that?
Oh, that's easy. gnschassis.com.au.
This episode of What's Up Down Under is brought to you by our mates at GNS Chassis. To find out more, head to gnschassis.com.au and make sure you buy a caravan with a GNS chassis. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode, thanks to our good mates at GNS Chassis, Galaxy Caravans, and of course Lotus Caravans.
Join us again next week, though, when we continue our journey from Dubbo right through to Nelson Bay, when we show you more of What's Up Down Under.